Ole Miss had a disaster second half and lost the game against Tennessee, but kind of more importantly, Chris Beard got thrown out of the game as well. Tim Thomas stops by to talk all about it.
You are Locked On Ole Miss, your daily podcast on the Ole Miss Rebels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to the Locked On Ole Miss podcast, the most watched Ole Miss podcast out there. I'm your host, Stephen Willis, a 10-year veteran member of the national media with Yahoo Sports and a former Ole Miss staff member as well. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network in America. That is all because of fans like you taking in content like this, and we appreciate it every single time. On today's show, we're going to be talking about the Ole Miss meltdown that took place last night in Tennessee. Chris Beard got an ejection, and Ole Miss had a disaster second half. Is there any way for this team to get any mojo back down the stretch? We will talk to Tim Thomas all about this team, all of this and more, and on today's Locked On Ole Miss podcast. Remember, we're free and available on all the podcast apps and YouTube, and a special hello to the insiders and everydayers who make the show what it is, and that is your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. It is the last call for football on FanDuel. If you're a new customer, bet just $5 and you can get $200 in bonus bets if you win. Tim, they played a decent first half against the Tennessee Volunteers and Thompson Bowling. They had a disaster second half, complete with an ejection by Chris Beard, and the rebounding problems, they were showing themselves. Other than Patton Pinkins being a really good freaking basketball player, I don't know if there's many nice things that can be said.
I was kind of proud of them the first half. Like you said, they were swarming and a lot of deflections, a real good defense, and actually rebounding somewhat. But by the end of the game, we were minus 17 on rebounds. So that just, you can't win up there at the Food City Center, they call it. Barnes is a great coach. He'll be Hall of Fame. Beard mentioned it last night in the pressure. He's really good, really good coach. He has some people say, well, he's got 2 or 3 really good players and the rest of them are football players, because he's got some big old kids out there that guard Gillespie. He's super. And Ament, they say he'll be first round draft choice, no doubt. And he showed it last night. We had no one to guard him. No one could stay with him. We did whatever he wanted to when he got going. We don't have those players. We just don't have them. Store, I'm just being honest. This is me now. I'm not speaking for Beard. Maybe G League, maybe Europe. Dia, I would love to think last year that he had NBA potential, but I don't see it. I hate to say he's a head case, but sometimes it seems like he's a head case. He's not there. He's there. I'm not sure what his issues are. Maybe him and Beard, he might be okay when he leaves, but he has a lot of potential. But right now I'm looking G League, maybe play over in Turkey somewhere. I mean, a couple other guys can play. We talked about the portal being an issue. It definitely, they miss on evals on some of these guys. If you get someone that's scoring 2 to 4 points at another school and you expect them to come in and score 15 or 20 for you, I'm going to go ahead and say it. Perry, it's not happening. He had a couple of really good games. The rest of them, non-existent. Corey Chess, he's not a scorer. Scott's not a scorer. They paid a lot of money for these guys, and they're just not coming through scoring-wise or rebounding-wise as of yet right now. We're kind of in a dire straits mode. It's 11-11, 3-6. Hopefully him being thrown out, this will motivate for the game at Texas Saturday. I hope it does, because they do need to be motivated, and we need some good things to happen to this team.
Yeah, let's talk about, for people not watching this video, walk us through Chris Beard getting ejected, why, what happened, what all that looked like.
He had some points. It definitely was a difference in the fouls being called. Hometown, you call it, home, whatever you call that. It's it. They had 20-some thousand people there. Barnes is the coach over on the sideline. It's just the way it is. They get the calls. And Beard had enough of it. He was frustrated. He's almost as frustrated as I am about this team. He's really he was trying to motivate. He kind of waited too late last night, in my opinion. They were way too far down. a mint. It just started getting going. But that's his call. He makes a little more than I do. So he did the right thing at this point. That's what he felt like, and hopefully it'll make a difference to Texas. But what the issue was, the fouling, the hacking. We were getting called for those fouls, and they were not. They were doing whatever they wanted to inside. Big old guys, big guys. You're supposed to be able to hold your hands straight up, make a wall, they call it. And we were doing that, but we were still getting called on a lot of the calls. But that last play, the one I saw it, Casilla had the ball. He was trying to go across and maybe do a little half hook or something, and he got sliced or hacked or whatever you call. About 3 different players hit him, and he lost the ball. Nothing was called. They were going the other way. So Beard, I guess he assumed we needed another player. So we had 6 players out there. He came out into the court, and I knew what he was doing. You kind of knew, but it probably meant to happen. He's trying to take care of his program here. He's taking up for his players. That's one of the way you look at it. It's a motivation aspect, but I hope it works. They need something like this, something good to happen. Hopefully we can go to Texas this Saturday, and it will happen. The players come together. We make some plays and win at Texas. It'd be good. We got 2 games the following week at home against Bama State, so that'd be a good little roll if we get that going.
So, and one last thing on that thing, Beard was walking off the court, everything. He was getting police escorted off the court. That was bizarre, but he gets to the end and then stops, and then he makes a beeline for the Ole Miss huddle. What do you think he said?
I don't think we can say that on air, Stephen, but it was a motivational tactic. I know it was. He's trying to bring out the man in them, because it did all year long. It hit very few times. But this game, the first half, they had it. They really had it. But he's trying to get his players. He's got to have Dia, Storr, Carmerdine. Those guys have got to step up. He's trying to motivate them and pick them up. And he didn't really care what it looked like. He didn't care what the guard or whoever the police, whoever that was, he didn't care. It might have been ICE. I don't know. He didn't care what they did or what they said. He was going to go talk to his team one last time and get his last little few words. And he had to tell it. He had to get it out. Sometimes you reared up, ready to do a show. He had to get it out. So he went and got it out. And I think they heard him. But it was a little too late last night, but maybe it'd be good for the next game.
All right. When we come back, we are going to talk to Tim about the Texas game coming up this weekend and the season as a whole. Can this Ole Miss team get their mojo back? All of that as soon as we come back. This is the Locked On Ole Miss podcast.
I'm Kalia Butler, host of Locked On Women's Basketball, and this is Mazda's Women's Basketball Snapshot, celebrating the work no highlight reel can ever capture. Number 1 ranked UConn dominated Tennessee 96-66, turning a halftime tie into a historic win and avenging last season's loss by delivering the largest margin in the rivalry's history. AZ Fudd had 27 points and Sarah Strong added 26 as the Huskies remain perfect on the season, reminding everyone why they are the reigning national champions. In the Big Ten, number 2 UCLA rolled past number 8 Iowa 88-65, powered by 22 points from Angela Dukelich and a huge advantage in the paint, staking their claim as a national threat. These moments are earned off the clock, those long before the lights ever come on. The sweat, the fakes, the doubt, the scrapes, and coming back for more every time. Mazda puts that same drive into every detail. Wins define the moment, putting in the work, that defines you. There's more to a Mazda because there's more to you.
All right, tax season does not have to take over your life as well. This year, TurboTax is making it easier than ever to just hand things off and move on along with your day. With TurboTax full service, you can have taxes done for you by a trusted local expert, start to finish, without the stress or guesswork. They handle everything from W-2s to self-employment forms, and they work to get you every single deduction. If you can upload your documents, go about your day, and get updates right there in the TurboTax app, it is a huge time saver, and it gives you real peace of mind knowing that an expert is handling it. For a limited time, you can have your taxes done by a TurboTax expert for just $150 all in. If that TurboTax expert did not file for you last year, just file by February 28th. Take taxes off your plate and get back to your life. Visit TurboTax.com/local to book your appointment today. And it is one last call for football with FanDuel on Sunday. One last kickoff, the final chance to get in on the action before the NFL season officially comes to a close. This is Super Bowl 60, and FanDuel is making sure you're right in the middle of all the action with a special offer just in time for the biggest game of the year. Whether you're backing the favorite, riding the underdog, or building one last same-game parlay, this is the game that everybody has been waiting for. This is where predictions turn into play, stats into storylines, and every snap feels bigger. It is the perfect way to cap off this season and make Super Bowl even more exciting from kickoff to the final whistle. If you're a new customer, bet just $5 and you can get $200 in bonus bet if that bet wins. Make it count, because after the Super Bowl, the season is over. Last call for football on FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of Super Bowl 60. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Do us a favor, like, subscribe, and comment on the video. Subscribe to the podcast on whichever audio podcast you're listening to and give a 5-star review. It costs absolutely nothing but keeps all of this free. Thank you for making Locked On Ole Miss your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. You already live your team every day. Now take it up a level and go ad-free. Join the Everydayer Club today and get the Locked On Ole Miss podcast with no interruptions and a members-only Discord and even more, all for just $5 a month or $50 per year. Go to lockedonolemmiss.supercast.com or check the link in the show notes to learn more. If you're looking for different ways that you can be a part of the Locked On Ole Miss community, the Everydayer Club, both tiers, they're absolutely fantastic. Check those out as well. All right, so Tim, Ole Miss has Texas this weekend. That is going to always be an interesting matchup because Chris Beard going back to Austin is not a small feat. They're going to be pretty amped up for that game, but this Ole Miss basketball team is limping in. It kind of started with the Auburn game to where the effort wasn't quite there, and the effort was there against Kentucky. They just couldn't execute. This just feels like this basketball team will be on the cusp of doing something, but not quite able to do it at this point.
Yeah, we're honest here, right? We try to be honest, try to be positive, but it's going to be hard, really hard. We have 9 games left. The good thing, 6 of them are at home, so hopefully we can win some of those. So it's going to be close. 500 for the year. It's going to be tough to try to make that the tournament. Unless we win the SEC tournament, it's going to be out. Actually, in 1981, the team I was on, we won the SEC tournament, and we went to the NCAA in Kansas. It was a good time back then. But talking about this team, Beard, we talked about dire straits. Let's talk about Foreigner for a minute. Mind games. He's been playing mind games with this team, and that was what he did last night. He played little mind games, trying to get them fired up. We'll see what had happened. But the thing we've talked about it, we don't have a quarterback. We don't have a Batman. Chambliss, he is that guy. The difference between seating at 5 or at 10, and next year for the ratings poll, you got to have that Batman. We've talked about it. Store's been a little bit. We mostly got Robbins, right? We mostly got a lot of Robbins, and we don't have any Batman. Carmody, he stepped up a little bit the first half. I thought he was going to really come through, but it just don't happen. It's not happening. You just saw the Vandy game, but Tyler Tanner, he's really good. He's really good point guard. You could tell he was a difference in the game last night. Gillespie, he made difference. You can tell the main difference. We understand that we spent about $13 million on this team. That's what I hear say. I'm not sure, but we got to get some mint guys. We got to get some of these top-rated guys some way or another with the money that's been raised and what we do have. And we don't have those guys, as I mentioned earlier. We just don't have those guys. But Texas coming up, I would hope they'll be fired up. Beard, I have them fired up. He's coming back kind of home. So that's something that he'll use to get these guys going. And I can see it happen. We're going to win some games just by the good way he coaches. We're going to win a few games, and especially some of these home games coming up. We could have 2 or 3 upsets. I could see it happening. But for the overall year, it's going to be tough to get close unless we do something and really do well in the SEC tournament.
Yeah, it's kind of turned into a math problem for Ole Miss. You need to get to 10 conference wins, and that means going 7-2. and you still have Florida on the schedule. You still have some dudes on the schedule and games that you have to win. Now, do I think Ole Miss can beat South Carolina? Yeah. Do I think Ole Miss can beat Mississippi State? Yeah. Do I think Ole Miss can beat LSU? Yes, absolutely. All of that is true. The problem's going to run into that math problem. If you have Florida on there, you have Alabama on there, there's a road game, I think, at Auburn left to go as well that could be problematic. That's 3 games right there, and you have to win one of them. And those are against teams that are going to be in the NCAA tournament. So it gets tricky. Now, I will say this. If Ole Miss does go 7-2, wins 10 games, goes to the SEC tournament, this team is red hot going into the tournament. It is ready to go. But right now, when you look at what's happening, the probability of that happening is not there. And Chris Beard is trying absolutely everything he can do. I don't know if there can be another significant emotional event that can be pulled out for this season. I think you just have to kind of let it go. I mean, if the light hasn't come on so far, I don't think in the last 9 games it's going to come on.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. I'm hoping and praying that things will go well, and they still got to play the games, right? I don't care if you got a Florida in front of you, whatever, Florida, Auburn, whoever they are, Alabama, you still got to play the game. So if he accidentally fired this team up last night, and if they really get together and play well together, if Dia will come around, if Storer will do his thing, and if Carmerdine will be our Batman, there is a chance. There's always a chance. But we got to have rebounding. Scott's got to wake up inside. Yes, they got to really rebound. They got to want it. Dia has got to step up. You know, it just hadn't happened all year long. And it's consistent. We're just not consistent. One good half, one bad half. I don't know. It's just really hard. We can't score enough points, guys. We talked about this from the very first time. We don't have any great offensive players. You got to have at least 2, you know, some need 3 at times, and you got to have a Batman guiding these guys and getting the ball to the right person. So we'll see it if it happens. I still got faith. It's a little feeble right now. I'm struggling with it. I'll just be honest with you. But anything could happen. That's why they play the games. But I remember back in 1981, this Ole Miss team that no one thought we could do anything. We went and won that SEC tournament, cut down the nets in Birmingham, Alabama. And then we went and played Kansas in the first round. We got beat by Kansas, I think, with just a couple points. But it can be done. Don't say it can't be done. It can be done. And I'm hoping this is the year. It could happen. Let's see what happens.
All right, Tim Thomas, former player, joining the show. Thank you so much for stopping by, and we will talk to you again next week, Tim.
All right, howdy toddy.
Howdy toddy. All right, thanks again for tuning into the Locked On Ole Miss podcast. We're going to continue to talk about this storyline with Tim each and every week. We're going to get Brantley Sanderson, start talking Lady Rebs in here as well. So make sure you subscribe and follow the show to make sure you get all of the latest episodes. We're on all the social channels, so check that out as well. And if you never miss an episode, the Everydayer Club is built for you. Get Locked On Ole Miss ad-free, plus members-only Discord access and more. Head to lockedonolemess.supercast.com to join the club. For those of you on video, we're going to send you on over to the first ever 24/7 National Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel. On audio, make sure you make your second listen Locked On College Football. Hotty toddy, everybody. And hopefully this gets turned around pretty quickly. Take care, y'all.